Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be doing a pumpkin-based makgeolli. Probably not a true makgeolli because this isn't even coming close to rice. But I did find a supplier where I could get Naruk. I won't be using it in this recipe because A, it's extremely hard to get and I have to buy so much at one time in order for my distributor, the person that I found that can get it for me, can order it, and I'm not going to waste it on an experiment. I'm going to go with my standard amylase or alpha amylase, brewer's amylase, and yeast concoction that I've done on my past makgeollis. For what I'm substituting for juke is canned pumpkin. I'm going to do a pound of canned pumpkin. This label says all natural, no preservatives, so I'm going to take it at face value. Then I'm going to do 2 stages today. I'm going to do 1 pound of it. Tomorrow I'm going to do another pound of the pumpkin, the canned pumpkin. Then Friday, I'm going to cut this bad boy up and soak it and steam it like you would the rice, the gotobak. And we're going to put it in the fermenter and we're going to see what we're going to get. I'm not going to add any extra sugars to this concoction simply because I want to know how much starch to sugar conversion I can get out of a pumpkin without sugar. So hopefully my alpha amylase and my brewer's amylase will get it broke down pretty good and we'll get something worth drinking. Just completely unknown. The only real research that I did, and I was being lazy, was whether or not pumpkins contain starch. And they do contain starch. They contain starch. Therefore, we can convert it to sugar and ferment it. Well, one thing I am going to do is I have, basically this is your fast pitch starter. Used a lot of times in beer. But because this being an unknown, I'm going to put my alpha amylase and my yeast, that's what we need, yeast, into this. I'm going to put on a stir plate. We're going to go ahead and mix it. I'm going to use 1 can of this with 1 can of water. Then I'm going to add my alpha amylase and my yeast. So, first thing we do, go ahead and put this in. Go ahead and turn our stir plate on maybe. Okay. There we go. Make sure our stir bar is centered. Speed up. It looks like we got our stir bar. It wasn't plugged all the way in the back. Evidently when I set it up, I pulled the plug a little bit. So bring it up to 1 liter. Actually, we're just a hair over 1 liter, but we'll let that mix for a little bit. Okay, we have our alpha amylase. Alpha amylase enzyme. And I will be using Red Star Premier Blanc champagne yeast. So let's go ahead. And to be completely redundant and to go with the flow of my other videos, all the surfaces that I'm using today have been sanitized. I wiped my counters down with bleach and came back and cleaned the bleach off with water. And all my equipment I use Star Sand. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our alpha amylase in now. Give that a couple seconds to get blended in real good. Now we're going to add our yeast. If you are on a budget, or you're just the kind of person that likes to measure this out, this whole packet of yeast, which I use, is overkill. I'm lazy. I don't like math. And there are more experienced brewers out there that can sprinkle a little bit out of the package and know about how much they're going to use. Once again, too lazy to do that myself. This thing's making quite a bit of noise, but like I said, I'm just lazy. You don't have to do what I do. All this does, by using the whole package, is give me another layer of sanitation, because the extra yeast will inoculate anything that may drift into my mixture. So, with that being said, you don't have to do it. It is perfectly acceptable to measure it out and go from there. We are back now with our 1 pound of pumpkin, canned pumpkin. I'm going to turn this off. Like I said, everything has been sterilized, sanitized with my little mixing spoon. Do this so I don't wind up with the stir bar in my like I said, this, we're going to mix it in here. Hopefully I can get in a fangle. At some point I will probably save money and get more cameras and do more angles and what have you. But right now I'm doing this, I do these videos out of enjoyment of brewing. Not trying to get rich, not trying to be a millionaire, you know. Not trying to support myself with these videos. I just enjoy doing them and like sharing knowledge. If there is somebody like Homebrewing Wild and Cheap, he does very good videos. He has a Patreon account. I really highly encourage you to go give him a visit. If I remember, I'll put a link to his YouTube on the bottom. Visit his Patreon. Give the guy money. He does good work, and he deserves it. He deserves it. I've got a lot of inspiration for my recipes from him. So, give a shout out. Go show him some love. Give him a couple dollars. It's well worth it. Jeff Rubidge, who does a lot of Makgeolli videos. I've learned a lot from his brewing videos. I'm not sure if he has a Patreon account. I'll also try to put a link to him at the bottom. And so you go check his out. If you're interested in Asian alcohol, mainly Korean, his is worth checking out. Both these people do wonderful YouTube pages. Like I said, I've learned a lot, and they both inspired me to do things that I would normally do, get outside my comfort zone, get outside my box. So, matter of fact, the pumpkin makgeolli is taking the makgeolli I learned from Jeff and using out-of-the-box thinking from Homebrewing Wild and Cheap. There you go. Now we are going to put this in our fermenter. We are back. I have my fermenter nice and sterilized. Hand's been sterilized. Everything's been sterilized. So we'll take our orange goodness and we'll dump it in. Yeah. And we'll give it a good stir here. Splatter it all over my face. Put our lid on. And there we go. Our first stage of pumpkin makgeolli. When I do the second stage and put the second pound of pumpkin in here, I'm not going to film it because that is going to simply be opening the can, dumping it in, and mixing it in real good. But when I do cut up the pumpkin itself and soak it and steam it, then we'll have video of that, and that will consist of my part 2. And we'll see what we get. Till next time, peace, love, and better brewing.